What's up, guys? It's Chad here, Juvia's Company for my driveway today. If you've been following the channel, you know behind me is our new to us 2021 Grey Wolf 29BH. We got back from a short trip about a week or two ago. Where we went in the mountains of North Carolina, we were expecting a little bit cooler temps, but hasn't seen rain in a while, and it was in the 95 to 97 range, max heat during the day. Needless to say, the AC was blowing cold. It just was having trouble keeping up to where we had it set. So on today's review and demo, we're going to clean the evaporator and condenser coil on our Coleman Mach AC. So stay tuned, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Before we get to it, I want to go over a couple of safety things, just so you know, you obviously are getting up on a roof of a camper. Safety tips: make sure the camper is on a nice level surface. Make sure the wheels are chalked, so while you're up there, it doesn't wiggle, move, slide, and knock you off. I'm going to be doing this all by myself. I don't have any assistance, so I'm using my Gorilla ladder in the A-frame position, which gives you the most amount of safety if you're by yourself. If my wife was here, I might have put it in the 180 degrees straight and just had her stand on the bottom. Again, make sure that you don't have any power running. All the breakers inside are all flipped off and the power cord is not connected. Now, the things I'm going to be using for this project, I have my Bosch drill here. It's going to require a Phillips head. I am using today the Frost King foaming cleaner for my evaporator and condenser coils. And this brush I've had, this is a kind of like a coil comb, kind of straightens out coils if they're bent, and then the brush end is going to be doing the actual cleaning. Now, this is a non-rinse formula, so I don't have to rinse it, but I am going to be taking a shop rag up there to wipe the coils down after they get cleaned. So let's get up there. All right, just made it up on the roof. I just cleaned this roof beginning of the summer of 24. It's still looking really clean. It's got a little bit here and there, but we're not up here for that. So on these Coleman Mach AC units, it's got to have, to get it off, is 4 Phillips on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the front, there are some clips that are holding this on. So we're gonna work it out and I'll show you how that works. We got the 4 bolts and washers taken out. I found the safest place is right there. Make sure you don't lose anything. Now, on the front of these Coleman Mach units, I don't know if you see, there's 1, 2, 3, I call them clips. Okay, the front of this, the very front bottom of this is gonna have to go over those clips, and they clip underneath to secure it. So you physically have to pull this plastic cover over those to get it up. So got that. So once this is over those clips, then you just lift it straight off. Once you get the cover off, this is essentially what the Coleman Mach units look like. I know there's different Mach units, but they all generally look the same. They're just different generations. All right, you have your evaporator coil that's in this housing. All right, this is your motor and your fan, obviously. Here is your compressor, and then you have your condenser coil back here. So your evaporator, your condenser. So the coil on the back we're going to be cleaning right here. And then the coil that's inside of this we're going to be cleaning as well. Now, when I open this, it's got to have the hole in there for the air coming in from the camper. So this compartment is technically supposed to be airtight. So you don't want air from the outside getting sucked in here, because then that's just going to make your AC a little bit less efficient. Now, if you talk to any good AC tech, they're going to say you want to take this aluminum tape and you want to cover all the gaps. So anywhere where there's a gap, air could be technically getting sucked in there. I'm going to show you an example of that. Okay. Now, if you look up over here, you see how this is kind of bowed out a little bit? Most likely air is getting sucked in right here. Other places might also be this. This whole thing is kind of peeled back. So anywhere where there's a crease, you want to cover it with this type of, it's called aluminum tape. So I'm going to do that as well during the service, but You have 5. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 on each side, and then you have 1, 2 on the back, and that should be it to remove this cover. All right, once you get all the bolts I showed you, there are a couple extras. There's some on the front that need to be removed. However, before you just yank on this panel, the front panel, just keep in mind the control box is literally this and this are bolted to this and this with these retaining clips. So if you're trying to unscrew it from the outside, it's never, ever, ever going to unscrew, because all you have to do is pull these tension or retaining clips off. All right, so looking at this, we're going to clean this, okay? But you're not just going to want to spray cleaner down in here, okay? You definitely want to, you know, put something over the control box, and you're probably going to want to jam a towel down in here, because that's where the air from inside your camper comes up. So if you spray a bunch of cleaner down in there, it's probably going to leak out into the camper. All right, so I'm going to do that, and we'll get to cleaning. Got all my towels kind of squared away where I want them to go. Technically, you're supposed to pull this plug out. There's a sensor that's in the actual coil that kind of regulates temp. I'm supposed to pull it out, but I have a sneaky suspicion if I pull it out, I might not be able to get it in. So I'm literally just covering this with a towel here, and I'm not going to spray directly onto it. So hopefully that'll be all right. But as you can see, this unit is a little bit dirty, has a little bit of damage to it. Not a lot of damage, but you can kind of see here kind of where there's different coloration. It's kind of where stuff potentially just kind of hit it and kind of poked the coils down a little bit. All right, so obviously we're using this right here. All right, the Frost King Foaming Cleaner, heavy duty. So we're going to use it. Again, it's the non-rinse formula, so we're just going to spray this bad boy with this. Oh. All right, got that all nice and foamed up. So we're going to take our cleaning brush, and we're going to essentially clean this with this side, and then we're going to use a towel to wipe all the excess away. So let it sit for a minute or so, and then we'll start to brush. All right, this is my second coat. I already scrubbed once, and it actually looks like it's cleaning pretty good. So again, I'm just using the more of a nylon bristle type side. Okay, so you just scrub it just like you're scrubbing anything else. Trying to get all the dirt and grime off of it. Typically, more of the dirt and grime are obviously going to settle closer to the bottom due to that thing called gravity. But you don't want to over scrub it, but you just want to scrub it enough to essentially work the product in. All right, so we got that all squared away. It's looking much better than it was. It was kind of a brown color. Now I'm definitely seeing more of a silver color. But so we're going to take our towel here. We're going to wipe it down. Again, do not use your wife's nice towels for this. This is just a old, essentially a rag that used to be a towel, got turned into a towel that I just now use for dirty stuff and bleaching and whatnot. So obviously you can see how dirty this thing was. It was this color originally. And so I'm going to let that dry. Like I said, I don't see too much damage on this, so I'm not going to worry about trying to use the comb to fix any of the coil here. All right, next step, we're going to go to the condenser on the back and do the same thing. Once you are satisfied that you have it pretty dang clean compared to what it was, obviously it's going to be time to put everything back together. So on this side, I already cleaned the condenser. As you can see, it's nice and clean and shiny now. The evaporator was actually the dirtier of the two, in my opinion. It is still, I did an extra scrubbing, so it still has a little residue, but it is much cleaner than it used to be. I mean, as you can see, like a lot of dirt came off of it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, okay, just make sure you remove these towels. That's very important. Don't yank on them. Just be nice and gentle with them. You don't want to be pulling any wires out. I know you've kind of pushed them down in there, but just make sure they come out. If If you leave that in there, you're probably going to blow the unit up because it's got zero airflow. All right, next step, once you're satisfied, you make sure that this is pushed, make sure it's connected back on if you took it off. Make sure nothing has disconnected from this box right here. The next thing we're going to do is reattach this and this to these two bolts using these friction clips. Obviously, I need my second hand to do this. So obviously, like something like right here, this little gasket was actually off, so I'm going to push that back on. Anything that was there originally is probably supposed to be there, so just make sure that it gets back on where it's supposed to be. Just a quick look here. That's what it's supposed to look like. On my particular unit, there is hardly any slack on this main power line coming in, so I can really only crack it to about there before the line pulls tight. So once you got that all squared away, make sure none of the wires have been disconnected, then you're gonna put the cap back on here, the cover, and screw all the screws back in. With any luck, everything will get back together nice and easy, and you'll have no leftover screws. Don't forget, you got to put these hangers back on. If you forget those, you're going down the road, more likely than not, you're going to start to see the case ride up from the wind getting up under it. So these help with that. Obviously, it's got the 4 bolts on the top, but you'll probably see some movement if you don't reinstall these. And I also did clean the outside of this as well. I don't know. I just like everything looking as good as possible. And there's the back, obviously. I mean, while you're up here, you might as well inspect your roof to see if there's any cracks in anything or whatnot. But our roof is not looking too shabby. A little dirty, but like I said, I just cleaned it at the beginning of the summer. So next step, we'll jump down, get my tape, and we'll literally tape up all these seams. Again, this is the first time I've ever actually cleaned the grates on this. I just got this camper about 2 months ago, so I'm gonna tape this up, all the seams. Obviously, Coleman only puts a little piece on these 2 little things right here, which is a big area where air can get in. But again, as you can see, air is most likely getting in on this section. There's a bunch of other sections, like this whole thing right here is pretty much open. I can kind of tap that down with a hammer, but the tape will definitely help that seal. It's a little bit later in the day. Managed to get my hands on some of this aluminum foil tape. Earlier in the video, as you can see, I talked about how this box right here needs to be sealed up if any air is getting in here. This is obviously a vacuum in the box because it's sucking the air from in the camper and putting it through the coils right in here. If any air is getting sucked in from outside, all that heat and humidity is getting in, and that's what's making your AC less efficient. So essentially what I'm going to do is use this aluminum foil tape and tape up all the seams on this box to make it as airtight as possible. If you have never used this type of aluminum tape before, it does have a backer to it. So it's not sticky right now. You have to peel the yellow backer off, and then it becomes sticky. I definitely recommend a good pair of scissors. Yes, these are my wife's inside the house scissors, but they will get clean, don't worry. Obviously, it is not perfect. What I'm doing, a tip that I'm going to give you is I cut the strips into the sizes that I want, and then I lay them out like that. I don't do just one long strip and just kind of fold it around. I do individual strips and then fold them around the openings. Here is the final product. It's not perfect. Let me see, I got all the way across the back here. I got all this side all taped up, all the way down the back hatch. So we're gonna crank this thing up and see if we got any better cooling. While you are servicing your AC unit, you might as well come in here and clean the filters. I don't know if you can see this, but there's like a discoloration in this section right here versus here. We have 2 golden retrievers, and they generally come with us on these trips, so I have a sneaking suspicion these filters are definitely going to be needing to be cleaned. So take the cover off here. Sure enough, the whole main part of this filter is clogged. So we're going to remove those carefully, just slide them out. Okay, so the air essentially where we were at before goes right up in here. And the part that was actually over that hole is pretty clogged. So obviously got to get those cleaned. So looks like the same exact story on this side right here. All right, make sure you don't break or crack anything. And again, you just slide these grates out. All right, so now that we got these grates here, it probably is gonna require me to have two hands again, but we're just gonna essentially vacuum it up. All right, so we just have one of these Dysons we've had for years, and essentially we're gonna get all this dirt and debris out. It looks like just dirt, not too much dog hair, but we're gonna get them cleaned and stick them back in there. I already vacuumed the filters. I've already vacuumed the actual covers now that doesn't have the discoloration on it. But also don't forget to get up in here. As you can see, there's a lot of dirt in this area. Obviously, there's nothing in this area, but just make sure you kind of clean up this area as well. Once everything has been cleaned, again, just reverse the steps. Slide this filter back in there. It can only go one way. All right, there we go on that. And then just reattach the corresponding cover over top of that. Pardon my sweating, it is very, very hot in this camper. So essentially after you clean the coils, after you clean the filters on the interior, the last thing you're gonna wanna do is run your air conditioning just to make sure everything is working. The last thing you wanna do is accidentally have popped off one of those wires while you're cleaning the coils and you get to the campground and your AC does not work. So before you go out, make sure you test it. Just make sure everything feels nice and cold and all the air is flowing like it should be. All right, let's go start the AC up. Well, that is the conclusion of my how to clean your evaporator and condenser coil on your Coleman Mach AC units. Between that, cleaning the actual filters inside the camper, and sealing up the evaporator coil compartments, I actually do feel like it feels a little cooler to the touch, and I feel like there's a little bit more airflow as well. I don't have any actual scientific airflow meter, but just by my hand, I feel like it's actually doing a little bit better than it was. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. If you like this content, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And you'll see future content involving RVs, camping, gear reviews, how-tos, and campgrounds. All right, have a good weekend. Safe camping. Bye.